So here's an interesting question. Can you take a cat? Can you put a cat in a restaurant, put a tuxedo on a cat, teach him how to become a waiter, just like a human being, serving humans food, setting tables, pouring wine, putting the forks and knives in the right place? Can a cat do the job of a waiter? Well, it's not a riddle. It was, believe it or not, a real machlokas, a real argument, a debate that the non-Jewish scholars had with Maimonides, the famous Rambam, about 1,000 years ago, on whether you can take an animal and train him to subjugate his natural tendencies to act like a human. And of course, the Rambam, from a Torah perspective, knowing that an animal is an animal, but someone who's made in the image of God acts differently. And he said, no, of course not, you can't. And they tried to prove him wrong, and they took a cat and they actually put him in a restaurant, they trained him, and after about 3 weeks of training, they brought in the non-Jewish scholars in the Rambam to observe this cat. And amazingly, the cat was doing a great job. He was serving the customers, he was pouring the wine and the drinks and clearing the plates and serving the menus, the entrees, taking orders. And the Rambam, after about 20 minutes, pulled out of his pocket a mouse and had the mouse running through the restaurant. And as the cat came out of the swinging doors from the kitchen with 2 full plates of full entrees and drinks and glass, the cat suddenly saw the mouse. And what did he do? It was all over. He dropped the trays and the cat became a cat again. He started running after the mouse. So the debate was over. Because at the end of the day, if it walks like a duck and talks like a duck, it's a duck. It's hard for all of us to hide who we are. Our natural tendencies come out. In this week's Parsha, Parshas Chaya Sara, this point is so beautifully illustrated with the exchange between Abraham and Ephron. Ephron, of course, is the owner of the famous Maris HaMachpelah, the cave of the Machpelah, the field as well, where Sarah Imenu was buried after hearing the news that her son Yitzchak was shechted, was killed. Of course, it was wrong. She got the news too early, but she died, and Abraham was left this week's parsha to find a burial place for her. And so he met up with Ephron, wanted to buy the cave, the famous cave and the field. And Ephron, in a very sort of generous way, he said, no, it's okay, take it for free. It's my gift to you. And Abraham sat with that and says, I don't want to own it for free. I want to pay for it. And he took out of his pocket his wallet and pulled out 400 shekalim, an exorbitant price for the real estate. And suddenly Ephron decides, hey, I'm going to take the money. What's 400 shekalim between me and you? Which the Talmud says it was an exorbitant price. And the rabbis are busy with, well, what happened? On one hand, he was very generous, offered it for free, and then suddenly, a few minutes later, he acted like so rashly, so quickly when he saw the money. What happened? And they relate that what happened to Ephron is exactly what happened with the cat. As long as there was no mouse in the restaurant, he could act like a waiter, he could be a menschlich, just like the cat did. But suddenly he heard the jingle of the coins in Abraham's pocket. He finally brought out the money in front of him. Wow, that was like the mouse in the restaurant. Suddenly his greed, his passion for money came out. All of us, we have these certain animalistic tendencies. And our goal as humans, as Jews, is to subjugate these animalistic passions, these jealousies we have for anger, for money, and we have to try to rise above it. It's sort of like the rider on a horse. We have to tame the horse. Unlike the animals, they don't have that ability. That's our job. We learned from Ephron that the second he saw the mouse, in this case the money, he turned into a cat. We don't want to turn into a cat. We want to be able to, even if there's a mouse running around, even if we feel that right here in our throat, we feel that pang of jealousy, of taiva, of anger, we have to subjugate it. And we have to continue to be that waiter that's serving our patrons, serving Hashem, serving our family, and doing what we're supposed to be doing in this world. That's our job. That's the message in this week's Parsha. Shabbos.